today we have a new speaker, new guest joining us to share his insight. Thank you, Sanjib. Thank you so much for joining us. A lot of times I know people say it better than I do, so I'm going to start out with a quote like a lot of people know. It's a Lao Tzu. He says, "New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings." What comes to mind when you hear this quote?
Robert, we have to start at some point in our life. And if we associate our situation with pain, then only we can start a new beginning.
Yeah.
Because until and unless we associate, if you are an alcoholic or if you are going through a crisis, and if you associate that this is a painful situation, and if you see a life or a future which is pretty or beautiful, then only you can change it.
It's, you mentioned, alcoholism, and, a lot of times when someone makes a change in that chapter of their life, it affects the family. The home becomes a lot of times more healthier. A lot of times when someone takes that new step forward in their chapter, start a new chapter, we do impact each other more than we'd like to admit. What comes to mind when you hear this?
Thank you, Robert. First of all, I would like to compliment you on your choice of quote, especially this quote, because this is so true and profound. Because until and unless we are able to change our level of consciousness, we cannot change ourselves. And I see so many people struggling in their life to start a new beginning. And when they are not able to change their level of consciousness in that pain and suffering, they cannot change themselves. It does not matter whether the suffering is small or big. So the question is, how do we change this level of consciousness, or how can we change our state of mind? So let me start with the story of Paul Kalanithi. He was a neurosurgeon and on the verge of completing a decade's worth of training as a neurosurgeon. He was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. So one day he was a doctor treating the dying, and the next day he was a patient surviving to live. And just like that, the life his wife and he imagined evaporated. And here's the same question: what makes life meaningful in this pain and suffering? And I can relate to so many people out there who might be struggling because of financial issues, or because of marriage issues, or because of employment issues, or it can be anxiety, depression, or mental health. Because I have been there and I have seen the lowest point in my life. And I can tell you one thing: when we are faced with a difficult situation, whether it's a physical pain, mental pain, or we are trying to start a new life, we always think that we cannot navigate this difficult situation. We get frustrated and depressed. But in reality, you have an opportunity and a challenge. Why opportunity? Because you are at the rock bottom. You can, start your life fresh from that rock bottom, and you can create, anything, because as quantum physics says, you can, create any possibilities from there. When I was faced with that situation, when I look today that, I have changed so many things in my life, which was never a possibility before. Today, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I am an entrepreneur, I'm a YouTuber, I have written 15 songs in Spotify, and my first song, which was Rise from the Ashes, I wanted to, just recite few of the lines. I will rise one last time from my ashes. It's the time that I rise from my ashes. I was filled many times in sorrows and darkness, but I came back each time, again and again from that, depression. So, this is always a possibility for every human being. You can change your life and you can become better at any field and start a new beginning.
Listening to your story and just part of what comes to mind is, if you don't know who you are, why you do what you do, the world will tell you what you are and what you're going to do. Why do you feel sometimes it's hard for us to start over, even if what was previous was less healthy for us?
Fear is the main reason which is stopping us from doing bigger things in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And as you have heard the quote that the devil which we know is better than the devil which we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So we stay in unhealthy relationship. We do the job which we don't like it. We live in toxic environment because we know what is happening there rather than changing.
Yeah.
And what does fear do? Fear leads to doubt, and doubt leads to indecision, which
Mm-hmm.
eventually leads to anxiety and depression. And what does fear do to our brain? Fear paralyzes the neocortex, which is the thinking and reasoning part of the brain, and it
Mm-hmm.
hijacks the amygdala, the emotional part of the brain. Fear not only causes havoc in the mind, but also in the body by releasing stress hormone.
Mm-hmm.
And when these stress hormone is released, Robert, what it causes? It decreases your immunity. When we are faced with a difficult situation, we rewind and replay the same negative thoughts over and over and cripples our life in that process. And
Mm-hmm.
we are not able to think bigger than the situation. And that is the reason we are not able to start a new chapter in our life. We kind of, become stagnant in that same situation because of fear, because of uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
and we start living a life which is not happy, healthy, and successful.
What habits have you seen that have been helpful for those starting a new chapter, and what have not been helpful?
So before diving deep into the habits, what habits has helped me, let me tell you two other things which might help your listeners to start a new chapter in their life. The first is have a goal.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a small goal or it can be a big goal, it does not matter. One small thing can lead you to different bigger things in your life. So it
Mm-hmm.
will propel you to, start thinking bigger and bigger each and every single day.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing which I wanted to point is, improve your self-talk. Like
Mm-hmm.
we talk very negatively with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like we say to ourselves, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at maths. I'm a middle class person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm poor. Those kind of things. And when we start repeating those things, it becomes a reality
Mm-hmm.
because our subconscious mind is more powerful than the conscious mind. And
Mm-hmm.
how can you improve your self-talk? By having, affirmation, by visualization technique, you can improve your self-talk, which will, direct you towards a happy and a healthy life.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the two things which might help, some of your listeners to, start a new chapter. Now coming back to the habits, like, what kind of habits I used to change my life. I used meditation. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing which I use is exercise. And the third thing which I use is cold shower. And just to clear the misconception about meditation that, it is related to Hinduism or it is related to Buddhism, it has nothing to do with religion.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation is just a form of mental exercise tailored specifically for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can be an artist, you can be a professor, you can be a student, you can be an executive. You need concentration or focus to achieve that goal. When we go to school, nobody teaches us how to concentrate. And that is the greatest skill which we need in this present generation to achieve our dreams and goal and to start a new chapter. Because we are so much distracted, especially because of our phone nowadays, but there are so many other distractions at the same time. So, just to clear that misconception that, meditation is basically to improve your focus and concentration. It has nothing to do with religion. And there are definitely scientific benefits which I have written in my book, The Man with Zero Talent, that, how it changes our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because to change is to change our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you change your brain? There are different techniques, but meditation, I will just point out few things. Like it increases the thickness between the left and the right brain. And
Mm-hmm.
once it increases the thickness, what it does, that you become whole brainers. Your thinking ability, your reasoning ability, and your analytical ability and your creativity increases.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is it decreases the size of amygdala, which is the fear center.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have less fear, you can try different new things in life, because fear is the main reason which is stopping us from doing bigger things in our life. And the
Mm-hmm.
third thing is it decreases the hippocampus, which is our learning and memory center. If we are able to retain more information, we become, much better in our life.
Mm-hmm.
These are the changes which has been, scientifically proven. The second thing, which I, implemented in my daily habits or routine is exercise.
Mm-hmm.
As you know that when we do any kind of exercise, it can be walking, it can be jogging, it can be swimming, it can be bicycling. It releases certain chemicals in our brain, and there is so many chemical reaction which is happening in the body. Like it releases dopamine, it releases endorphins, and it releases GABA receptors, which will make you happy. Third thing, which I have implemented is cold showers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does cold showers do? It gives, a little bit of amount of stress in our body when we do cold showers, but you have to, keep your mind present in that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
once you are, out of that shower, you feel so refreshing. You are more energetic, and, you can concentrate on your work, in a highlighted state.
Meraki, it's Greek. It says pouring yourself wholeheartedly into something and doing so with your soul, creativity, and love. I remember this paraphrasing a quote from Martin Luther King. If you're a sweeper, be the best sweeper. Things take time, and when you have grace in yourself, that give yourself time, because at the end of the day, the choice is yours. What have been your drive and motivation to get up and keep doing what you're doing today?
So the first thing is, my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's not with me, but she gives me the inspiration every
Mm-hmm.
single day to wake up and do the things which I like. She gives me the strength and the will to pursue it every single day. The second is my son, who shows me, to be calm and patient and keep doing the things which is necessary, every single day. And the third thing is God. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have something much more powerful than what we have inside us.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely believe that without the help of God, I cannot do what I am doing today,
Mm-hmm.
because I wrote a book which says the man with zero talent. I don't have any talents, but
Mm-hmm.
I work hard, and God has opened me the doors which was closed. So he will direct you when you think he's not helping you.
Mm-hmm.
So trust in God and keep working on yourself. He will open the doors which will be so beautiful and so humongous, that you will be thinking where these things are lying before.
Mm-hmm. What has been the biggest lesson you learned or are learning when it comes to starting a new chapter, or starting something new?
Learning is the key to change yourself, and it
Mm-hmm.
can be anything. Like learning changes our brain, and it has been scientifically proven that if you are learning a new language, or if you are learning a new skill, it changes our brain, because our brain is malleable. It means it's called neuroplasticity. So, learning is a thing. It can be any kind of learning which will change your brain. Once you are changing your brain, you are changing your level of consciousness, as we have discussed before. And then only, change is permanent. So, learning is the key. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing which I wanted to point, as you have mentioned a lot of time, that choice. We have a choice, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the sum total of all your choices, whether it's good or bad. If you wanted to become healthy and fit, you have to go to the gym. It's your choice, or you can
Mm-hmm.
stay in your couch and do nothing. The
Hmm.
choice is up to you. And if you wanted to become rich and successful, the choice is up to you.
Hmm.
So the choice always lies up to us, and we have to decide, what is better for us.
Any final thoughts? This has been a great conversation. I really enjoyed this, Sanjib. So, any final thoughts you want to share with those listening?
Whatever you are investing today, you are going to harvest it later. As the quote goes, what you sow today, you are going to, reap, later. So, rather than waiting and thinking that, I will start it someday, when all the traffic lights of life will all be green, start it today, and correct the course along the way. 20 years down the lane, you will be more disappointed by the things which you did not do than by the things which you did.